Hello everyone, and in this video I will show you how to work with different layer effects. So let's first start off with some kind of a shape. I will just delete the one I had. Here to the left I will just make a simple square. Let's make it a little brighter. Now there's different ways to add the effect, but the easiest one that I see, the figure, the shape. Then down here in the right corner you have this FX, and that is the layer effect. So if you press that one, now let me move this down a bit and the square up here a little smaller so we can see what happens while we are doing it. So the first one we have here is blur. And blur is actually, it's blurring out the image. So if you have it selected, and now when you drag this up, you can see the edges here start to blur. And you can see here only 100, but if you type, you can actually go above it. So it's not only 100, that's the limit. You can always write something to get it higher. So that is how the blur is working. Now we have the outer shadow. Let's select that one. Remember to unselect the other one. Here you have different blend modes. That is how you can control the different colors when you're doing the outer shadow. Let me add a shadow first. Let's go up to the normal one again. Here you add the radius to the shadow. You can see slightly something is happening around it here. Let's add the intensity. That is how strong you want to see the shadow. You can see here. Now if we go down, and you can see here it's getting much harder. And now we can use the offset, and that is where you can move the shadow around. And the offset is placed by this angle down here. So you can see more you pull it up, you can see more it's going down to the right corner, and that is where you can see this blue line is. So if you move this around, you can see the shadow will follow around. Then the opacity, that is of course if it should be transparent down here or it should be fully colored. So let's keep it down here a bit. And here again the blend mode, it's not easy to see on this figure we have here, but that is if you have something underneath it, then it will blend the colors together. So you can see here like this because it's a transparent background. Good. Let's check this off. Now go for the inner shadow. Here it's the same for the blend mode. You have the opacity up and down, how strong it should be. Let's start making a radius. Let's take the intensity up. The radius a little more. Now you can see the shadow starts to go inside. And again, remember all these you can always click on them and add a higher number. So if you take it to the top, it's not the limit. You can always write something. The offset is the same as in the outer shadow. It follows the angle down here. So if you do this, and now you can move the shadow around. Another thing I forgot here is the color. The color of course changes the color of the shadow. Then we have the outer glow. That is almost the same as the shadow. It's just more of a blur shadow. So let's take the red here, bump up the intensity. Let's take the opacity a bit down, and you have the radius here. So as you see here, it's just more it's more shiny than the shadow. And that is, of course, because it's a glow. The same goes for the inner glow. We have the radius, we have the intensity, we have the different colors here. And that is the same, it's the glow and not a shadow. And here you can change if it should be the center or the edge that should have the color. The outline, that is a line around your shape. And this is the thickness of the line around. The opacity is again how if it should be transparent or it should be fully colored. You can choose the alignment if it should be, if you see the blue line around here, right now it's outside, so the line will be outside here, outside the blue line. Now if you choose the center, it will be in the center of the blue line, and the inside is inside the blue line. One thing you have to keep in mind here is if you use the outside, if you select this shape and you export it, then it will only export what you have inside this square. So in this case, it would actually not export the black outline here. Then you need to make another box around here, put this inside, and then export it. Then it will export everything inside that box. Then you have the fill style. Let me put this inside. Here it is the color of the fill style. You have the gradient. The gradient, you can choose how strong the scale should be in the X. You have the scale on the Y. The offset. If you hit the angle here, or the gradient, sorry, then you can choose here by pressing this middle point here. You can move how strong should the two colors be. Here you have if you press this dot here to the left, in this case it's the black one, then you can choose the color here and you can change to red. You can take the other dot over here and you can change that to, let's make it green. Here you again have the opacity. You can slightly take it down so it's get more transparent. So now let's go back here and let's change the scale. Let's take this one. Now you can see here it's getting green on this side, the right side, and we got the red on the left side, but you can see the green is a bit transparent. So that's how the outline works. Then we have the 3D shape. Let's bump up the radius here. You can see around here we are getting a fancy shape here. Let me zoom in a bit, pull this down a bit like this. Here are the soften, how soft this curve should be that we are using here. If you hit the profile here, you have different kind of profiles, how this shape could be or should be. You can also manipulate with it. No, that was pretty much. But if you take this one and take this down a bit, you can see the shape here is changing. Like this. And you have some standard ones here that you can play around with. And the radius and the soften. You also have the opacity here, how much it should blend in. And here we have the different color variations that you can play along with, how shiny it should be, and then the different colors here. The same with the ambient, that is how bright it should be. All these colors can be changed here to the right as well. Remember again, all these numbers out here, you can still type in them. Then we have the direction of the light on the 3D effect. And that can be changed by left clicking and then just drag it around, or you can type it in here manually. Let me put it in here, and here you can change the color of that light. Let's take that off. Now let's go to the bevel. Now we have it on pillow. As you can see here, it bevels the edges here and gives us a little shadow. The shadow here is controlled by this direction. So this direction can be moved around. You have to soften here, how soften that edge should be. The pillow is the one you see here. Now we have the emboss. Let me move this inside, maybe it's easier to see. You can see now it's going inside here with the shape. If we take the outer, it's outside. Let me see if I can get it so you can see it here like this. And then we have the inner. So now it will be inside instead. You can see the shadow here inside, and it's not, don't have anything out here, but that is because the direction here. And again, here you can play around with the different highlights. You can see in the top here, it's changing color. And the same with the shadow. You can change the opacity and the color. Now we have something called color overlay. And that will simply overlay, as it says, the color that you choose here. So let's take a red one here. And now the opacity can go down, and you can see below you have the gray one. And here you can play around with the blend mode. You can see here how it should blend together. It should soft light, hard light, linear. There's a lot of different things here that you can choose. That is just different blend modes. Then we have the gradient overlay. The gradient is, means that you have these two different colors. You can hit the gradient here, choose the dot here, make it red, choose the other dot over here to the right, maybe make it, let's make it blue this time. And you still have the opacity here, so you can change it up and down, if it should be transparent or not. You can reverse them. Then you can scale how strong it should be, or let's say how strong it should blend together. The same on the y-axis, and here you can change the angle of it, like that. And you can offset it. And the opacity here. And you have different kinds of shapes. As you see here, if we pull this down, you can see it's a straight line. This is an ellipse. So you can see, oh, it's because of the offset. Let's pull it back again. You can see here, now we have this fancy one here. Let's do this, take it down. So now we have like a circle here. We have the radial, it's almost the same. a conical. It's a very weird shape. But yeah, there's different kind of shapes here, and you also have the blend mode up here, that you can blend them together in different ways. That was what I had to show you in this tutorial. I really hope that this helped you out. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.